Hello and welcome to the American League Central Rundown. I'm Eric, and with me today is Lee, Dan, Sam, and Ty is actually out for a little bit. He might be doing something solo in the near future, but we'll have to confirm with him. But he's out for a little bit anyway. So let's just start with the stats and the standings like we always do. Cleveland is now playing competent baseball again for the first time in like what 6 weeks, something like that. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They are 3.5 game of the White Sox. The Twins are slipping after being swept, then sweeping, and then being swept again. So 3-9 in their last 3-6 in their last 9. It's been fun. Go on that rant in a bit. The Tigers have played even worse than the Twins, and that's saying something. I'm so sorry, Lee. And then the Royals 9-1. And I ask you, where the hell was this when it actually mattered? But Royals doing everything they can to play spoiler. The ever-changing wild card, which, depending on a nightly basis, your favorite beat reporter has said, my team is in the last wild card spot. And then they play roulette the next night, and it's another beat reporter doing it. But the Guardians right now hold on to the last spot with the Rangers. Toronto's a game and a half back. Minnesota 2 games back. Detroit 3.5 games back, looking like Detroit might finally be sunk. But who knows? They're still only 3.5 games back. All right, 4 runs. The White Sox lead the American League in offensive runs. The Twins are still second. The Tigers 5th. The Royals 10th. And the Guardians 12th for Team ERA. It goes the Tigers, the Guardians, Tigers 3rd, Guardians 4th. The White Sox 8th. The Twins 13th, and the Kansas City Royals 14th. I think the last couple of weeks we've done a pretty good job of saying not only is the division less than impressive, the entire league is less than impressive. So copy that argument, but I guess what's kind of fun, at least in Kansas City, who has laid dormant the entire season, whether it's through injuries or bad play or, I don't know, bad juju, I don't know. But they're finally playing well. We talked about it in our solo episode we did, Sam, that the Royals may have spoiled the Twins season already. Well, looks like they may have done the same thing to the Tigers. So take a victory lap because you've been waiting for this moment for a while, buddy.
Well, I have mixed feelings on what's going on right now. Obviously the Royals have won 8 in a row. And the cynical part of me, which is a big part of me, as I think you guys may know, just kind of shrugs and goes, well, season's over, that doesn't matter. And I saw a post the other day on the internet where it was, the cycle of being a Royals fan. And we're right now we're in plays well in August and September, and you convince yourself that they're going to be good next year. This has happened before. This has happened many times over the years where the Royals had a bad team, had a bad record. Late August, September rolls around, everyone else has given up, and the Royals go on a nice little run. They go on a little streak. Guys play well. And we all go, oh, look, so-and-so looking good in September. And granted, these guys all want to play well and they want to secure a job and they want to, make sure that they're on a team next year. But for the Royals, I don't know. It comes down to this. You mentioned where was this when it mattered. It's easy to play when you're out of it. It's easy to play when there's nothing to play for. It's easy to play when there's no expectations and you're just, you're playing with not even house money. When you're not even in the casino, it's easy to play. But it's hard to play when it matters. So that's the answer to that question. Does it matter? Well, I think it at least kind of does because, the Royals are not just a bunch of young guys anymore. There's a lot of established players on this team. And it's good to see them come back and do well. But here's the situation that we're in with the Royals. As it stands today, the Royals are 58-74. And they have exactly 30 games left to go this season. They are 7.5 games out of a wild card spot. If you asked me, Sam, with 30 games to go, is a team who's 7.5 games out of the playoff hunt, is that team alive? I'd say yes. We've seen bigger, comebacks as far as the standings are concerned, over the years, certainly in this division in the last few years. But the problem is this. The Royals have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams ahead of them that they would have to leapfrog in order to put themselves in playoff position. So, yes, is it possible that in the, as we mentioned, when we spin the wheel at the end of the season, whichever American League team it lands on will get the third wild card spot? Of course, that's possible. But, I mean, the Royals are 58-74. If they were around 500 and they were 7.5 games back and they only had 2 or 3 teams between them and the playoffs, I'd say, sure, you got a chance. But I don't really think they have a chance, and I don't really think anyone else thinks they have a chance. I think this is just a late season surge, and you don't want to be the NFL team who wins in week 18 and it doesn't mean anything. So, good job. Playing spoilers fun. But again, I think this season is lost. And as I said, I mean, we're just going to spin a wheel as to what team gets the third wild card spot, right? I mean, that's what it feels like, does it not?
It's every day. It just feels like, oh, there's a new team in the wild card conversation or whatever.
I think what we might be spinning a wheel for might be which team in September wins 15 out of 20 in the last 20. Like that might be what we're spinning the wheel for, maybe.
But the Royals might not be on the wheel, but the Royals, the Angels, the A's, they're the teams who are spinning the wheel.
Sure. I would almost to do a slightly different analogy. Like the wheel is spinning and the Royals and the Angels are like stumbling drunk over to it and might hit it and affect the schedule in some meaningful way, or affect the, the result in some meaningful way, but sure.
So anyway, the Royals, I just hope that the management does not learn the wrong lesson from this. And I think they will.
History has
they
told
won't
you
learn
that.
the right lesson from this. So yeah, those are my feelings about the Royals.
I think it's worth acknowledging too. I'm not trying to throw salt on this, but the Royals have won 8 in a row, which is fantastic. 3 of those are against Detroit. I still think, while it hasn't borne out in the standings this year, I don't think Detroit's a bad baseball team. So sweeping them, nice job. But the other 5 were the Athletics and the Angels, which with full health, which it appears the Royals are much closer to full health than they've been pretty much since the start of the year. Those feel like games that maybe Kansas City should be winning.
Yeah, and the Royals have by far the easiest schedule left, just by glancing at the strength of schedule stuff on Baseball Reference. So now, granted, if you're a bad team in August, it's probably because you played a lot of good teams leading up to August and you have a lot of, bad teams left to go. I think that's just kind of one of those things where water finds its level. But look, the Royals won 8 in a row right after losing 5 out of 6 to Chicago and the Dodgers, the Cubs. Granted, anything can happen in a baseball game, and they did play pretty tough in that series in Dodger Stadium 2 weeks ago. But look, what are we doing here, folks? We're just hurting our odds for the number 1 pick.
Hey, Tigers are going to sweep in at the last second and get that first-round pick. They're not going to do anything with it, but they are going to get it.
Is this upcoming draft supposed to be a talented draft? Does anyone know?
I have heard exactly nothing, but I've also put zero effort into learning that, so I have no idea.
Okay.
Typically, you will.
Okay, there's the answer.
is no.
It's not. But anyway, that's enough about the Royals. Let's talk about. Sounds like you have some thoughts on the Tigers, Lee, as you are a fan of the team that just got swept by those Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, man, we got swept by the Royals. That's really fun. Look, the team kind of is miserable. I am going to put all full chest blame onto the Cleveland Guardians. I think this is entirely their fault. Tanner Bybee hit Riley Green with a pitch that took him out, and ever since the team has kind of sucked, except for that one game that they still beat the Guardians. So that's what my choice is, to blame the Guardians for that, and I don't care because Dan has been talking about Bloody Saturday for the last 2 months, so this is my revenge.
The Guardians lost 3 players in an hour and went 15-15 in the next 30.
The Tigers didn't do anything to those players. The Guardians hit 2 Tigers players, and look at what has happened because of that.
Part of the game.
Sure. But one of the things is that, Tigers fans do this thing where they don't like Riley Green for stupid reasons because they're dumb. So they're like, oh, Riley Green is going to miss time. It's not that big of a deal. He kind of sucks. He's been doing bad. No, Kevin McGonigal in the last 2 weeks has been batting .205 with a .597 OPS. And part of that is because Riley Green is not in the lineup anymore. Jason Benetti noticed, during a few days ago, he mentioned that because Riley Green is no longer in the lineup, McGonigal is getting more lefties out of the bullpen. And is just changing the way that opposing managers are managing the Tigers lineup because Riley Green is not there and this home run threat and doubles threat is not there anymore. So that sucks. No word on when he's going to be back, but it's going to be longer than the minimum. So Tanner Bybee, if I see you in a dark alley, it's not going to go well for you.
Is it ever the minimum?
Sometimes it is, but I don't know. He's resuming baseball activities soon, but yeah, I don't know. But he also has a history of injuries in his legs, so that's not really encouraging to me.
I mean, resuming baseball activities could be anything.
Yeah, pretty much. Couple other things. Carpenter had to be removed from baseball activities and he has to see a foot specialist for his plantar fasciitis. I'm going to take a wild guess and say we're not seeing him again this season. That's just me speculating, but I really don't think so. Our other guys we may never see again. I don't know if Verlander is ever going to pitch again. I don't know what his deal is. He's been doing stuff, but I think he will make an appearance, but it'll be September 27th, the last day in Comerica. He'll throw exactly 1 inning, and then he'll leave because his hip is turned to dust.
That's what's going to happen. Is he will have one final appearance, last home game of the season. He'll start and pitch 2-3 innings, and then walk off to a standing ovation.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to seriously be playing anymore again. I mean, obviously he's retired, but I don't think he's going to be making more than 1 start this season. So, yeah. I believe I mentioned last week, Wenzel Perez has been having vision issues, so that's great. James Outman was removed from the concussion protocol and then immediately DFA'd, so sucks for him, I guess. Get wrecked. But I guess a couple positive things, I suppose. A few days ago, earlier this week, Hao-Yu Lee set a new record for single season hits by a Taiwanese-born player, which I thought was really interesting. I mean,
Okay.
like that's a really low number to be the record set.
How many is it?
Because the previous record was 54. It's now 60 and counting. What Lee's up to.
Yu
For
Chang.
some reason, I thought there were more good Taiwanese players, but I guess not.
They've all been pitchers.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, the previous record holder was Yu Chang. And there was a story about how Hao-Yu Lee had met Chang when he was in high school, and it was like it was pretty interesting. And Lee was like, I wasn't even really paying attention. That's not my goal. I don't want to be a really good Taiwanese player. I want to be a great player in America. That was kind of his thing of like, it's really cool, but like ultimately that's not his goal in life is to be the best Taiwanese player. It's just to be a really good player in the MLB right now. But I thought that was really interesting and cool.
And don't you mean Chinese Taipei, Lee?
No. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, so Andrew Sears got promoted, and he's like a lower level prospect, like somewhere in the teens for the Tigers. But I only wanted to talk about him because I wanted to talk about this one bit of info from Emily Walden about Andrew Sears. So this is the quote from her. What to know about Andrew Sears? Off the field, one of the kindest, most genuine guys you'll meet. On the mound, his nickname, Psycho, is self-explanatory. One scout referred to Sears as a bull in a china shop when he's on the mound. Bullish intensity, has full confidence in his fastball and will repeatedly attack the zone. Entering the dugout during a start, Sears will often get a drink from the cooler, shoot it, smash the cup with the squeeze, and slam it against the wall. That is the type of information from a player that, as a fan of a team, that makes you go, this is either going to be incredible or awful, but either way, it will be fun to watch. So I'm excited.
Are we sure he only slams the cup up against the walls because he was bashing it up his forehead like in his frat days, like a beer can, and he was told not to do that anymore?
I don't know. I don't know the backstory on that.
What's he drinking?
It didn't say. I think it's just water or Gatorade or something.
I was about to say, he seems like I know nothing of this man. I've seen a picture. Apparently, he wears like the athletic glasses and all of that. I'm with Sam on this one. We might need to do a check on a couple of his Gatorade cups.
Look, if he can be our psycho bullpen guy, I'm all for it. We need it desperately. Just some energy from the bullpen. If he could be like the Marlins guy who comes out of the bullpen and then slaps himself in the face, that would be great. At least it'll be entertaining, you know? So
he seems like a more intense Andrew Chafin, except for he can throw a very big fastball. Like maybe that's just like the role he can fill in Detroit because they really don't have a lovable bullpen guy right now. I think Lee is going to talk about a couple of them later, and in her notes, she is less than flattering to the entire bullpen. So someone lovable, I think, is what they need.
yeah, today he got the loss, which kind of sucks, which is an undeserved. But he went for 4 innings and allowed 5 runs, 6 hits, 3 Ks though, so that was nice. But he did not have his first inning was good, and then it just kind of derailed after that. He's a starter like by trade, but they're using him in the bullpen. It's a whole thing. But I'm excited for him because at least he will be interesting, which is more than what a lot of these other guys are, which are just really boring, but they also suck. So if he can be exciting and suck, that's interesting.
I disagree. I think Kenley Jansen has been very interesting this entire year.
No, it's not fun, and Kenley Jansen is the leading cause of heart problems in Southeast Michigan. That's a real stat. I have real facts to back it up. So yeah, I mean that's kind of it for the Tigers. Like there's really not much else going on. I think 2 out of the 4 of the prospects we got back in the Skubal and Mize trades are injured already, so that's like really cool actually. Remember when we thought that was like, oh yeah, we got these exciting guys and they're actually playing good? No, not anymore. it's whatever. I guess it's just football season. Uh, the Lions might be interesting. We don't have an O line, but whatever. I'm excited to see what Michigan will do when we have a head coach who's not busy sexting 21-year-olds at halftime on Tinder. So, it's football season, really. Baseball's just kind of there in the interim.
Huh. Well, I don't really have a transition for that. I was wow. Okay. Cleveland has a baseball team. Everyone, don't know if we know that. Dan, tell us about this baseball team while we forget about whatever Lee just said.
I don't have a segue for that either. I do want to say the Guardians, I gave the Royals some grief for their 8-game winning streak, more than half of it being against the Athletics and the Angels. Well, the Guardians took care of business this week. They won 5 out of 6, but that 5 out of 6 came against the San Francisco Giants and the Colorado Rockies. So not exactly the toughest of opponents either on their end of things. But at the end of last week's episode, when we showed the schedules, I did say they need to win 5 of these for this week, and they did. Now they've got one more easy up-and-coming team, which I'm blanking on now, of course, but they're staying on the West Coast. I think they might be playing the Angels. We'll find out later when we do the schedules. Doesn't matter. The point is the schedule is remaining easy for the time being. We also play the Royals next weekend, which will the Royals continue to set teams back, or will the Guardians be able to kind of beat a division rival there? We'll see. But the one thing I really wanted to kind of allude to this week was a bit of a crisis that may have been averted with the Guardians over the course of this winning 5 out of 6. So Tuesday, the first game of this group of games, the Guardians are playing at home against San Francisco. And in the first inning, Joe Adell hits a ball off of his own leg, very hard. And is hobbled for a moment. And I believe the trainers came out, but the point is he was able to kind of stay in and finish out the at-bat. In that at-bat, just a couple pitches later, he hits a ball 455 feet into the left field bleachers at Progressive Field. That if anybody recalls what Progressive Field looks like, this ball one-hopped the big scoreboard in left field.
Dang.
That prodigious power. His longest home run of his career. He smoked that ball. It was insanely impressive. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the medicine the Guardians have been looking for their offense since Manny Ramirez played here 27 years ago. Anyway, he continued to play in that game and was later taken out, though, as the game became, it was like 8-1 late in the late innings. Yeah, we're getting some major static, and I don't know where it's coming from, but anyway, we apologize for that. But the story continues. He's taken out of the game, and additionally, on Sunday, Chase DeLauder had been exited from the game on Sunday because of a hamstring issue, and he didn't play on Tuesday. So now we're kind of looking at the same issue that the Guardians have had ongoing at times throughout the season, players out that are imperative to what is already a lethargic offense. With that said, the Guardians ended up winning 2 of 3 from San Francisco. They do get shut out on Wednesday by a combination of Matt Tugboat Wilkinson, who they traded to San Francisco for Patrick Bailey earlier this year, you may remember. He was making his debut. He pitched 2 innings as an opener, went scoreless. Then Adrian Hauser came in and was fantastic for them. I think pitched 5. Anyway, Giants won the second game 1-0. They end up winning the series. They win the rubber match on Thursday. And luckily, thankfully, after a couple days out of the lineup for DeLauder and for Adell, they were both back in the lineup Friday. And kind of concerned about, well, they've both been hobbled. DeLauder's got a hamstring. He has a reputation as being injury prone. Adell, it just feels like, he was probably swollen because he fouled that ball off his leg. We should be fine. DeLauder made a really nice play in the outfield on Friday up against the sidewall by the foul line. He was in today's game, which the Guardians won. They scored 7 runs today. He was 3 for 3 in the 4th inning with 2 stand-up triples. I think he's feeling fine. I think he's all right. Especially in Colorado, that place will take something out of you. But Joe Adele yesterday had 2 hits. Both those balls were hit over 105 miles an hour. He is still smoking the ball. So all of this is to say there's a little bit of some static, if you will, maybe is an appropriate metaphor this week with the Guardians and potentially losing their power addition from the right hand side and Adele, and then DeLauder, who's been obviously steady as anybody all year. But I think we got out of it unscathed because they continue to remain impressive as the team went to Colorado this weekend, and the Guardians swept the Rockies. On to the next.
How much do you think is they were playing bad teams, and how much do you think there's real stuff there, like they're actually hitting the ball well again?
I think, how's this for a cop-out answer? I think it's both. I think they've added to this offense, and I think that's shown. I just noticing it in the episodes we've done. 2 weeks ago, the Guardians were 14th in runs. Now they're 12th. And I know 12th, we're not going to throw a parade for being 12th, but to make up that much this deep into the season, they're hitting better. Like, I think that's true. Is that improvement more marginal than it's showing right now? Yeah, I think so. I think they've faced some easy pitching staffs. Additionally, I think all offenses do well in Colorado, but I think this team with their contact first mentality, and that's a big outfield in Colorado. That's a lot of opportunity for balls in play to land in singles and doubles that you don't necessarily get other places. I think they're specially tuned to maybe perform really well in Colorado. Maybe I'm just making that up, but you can only play who's in front of you, and this means that they hadn't played these teams earlier in the season, and other teams have. So what I think I'm trying to say is I'm not that impressed by the Dodgers because they get to play San Francisco and Colorado 14 times a year. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. But they can only play who's in front of them, and these wins count just as much as any others. So keep it going. And they need to keep it going because you got to take advantage of this opportunity.
Fair enough. So I'll talk about the Twins, who have, like I said at the start of the episode, got swept by the Phillies. In 3 consecutive series, they got swept by the Phillies. They swept the Braves, and they just got swept by the Padres. 2 of those losses, one for the Phillies and one for the Padres, they were up by 4+ runs in the last half of the game, and they ended up blowing it. It happens. Bullpens blow games. They're good teams. Shouldn't be that surprising. But if you would have told me they had the potential to go 5-4 against a really tough, probably the toughest remaining schedule, were part of their schedule, I would have been really happy. The actual result was they were 3-6, and I guess this week they went 3-3. But I guess where I'm fairly frustrated, one, because my team is not playing well right now, but it's how they're doing it and some of the decision making that they've made in the last couple of weeks. And I'm going to start off by saying Austin Martin went on the IL, and this kind of sparked a fair amount of, I won't say outrage because that's too dramatic, but Austin Martin, who is really the sole platoon option right-handed bat for the Twins they've had pretty much all year. He goes on the IL, and the Twins have, a couple guys in AAA that you could have called up, including Gabriel Gonzalez, who they called up earlier this year to be a specific right-handed outfield bat. I think he actually played DH, but he's having a down year, but he could have actually hit the bill. Instead, they called up the guy they DFA'd 3 days before in Alex Jackson, who is right-handed, who is also a catcher. They're now just playing with 3 catchers again. And when somebody asked Alex Jackson, he was actually drafted as a catcher, and then he played a large chunk of his minor league career as an outfielder. So when somebody asked Derek Shelton, do you think you'll play him in the outfield? Because he's a good athlete. He's decently fast. I think he has average sprint speed. according to Devon, or at least league average sprint speed. And they said no. Which, I don't get that. He had like less than 20 plate appearances over the last month. So what is the point of calling up Alex Jackson other than to pinch hit Carantini and Jeffers 2 more times a week? It just, I don't understand that logic. And this is on top of the fact that the Twins just have not gotten a corner right-handed bat for years. They just do not think it's a need. They punt it pretty much every year, even though it is like the cheapest effing thing you can get on the free agent market, and they still refuse to do it. So I will say that they're bringing up a right-handed catcher who has been, I guess, an above-average third catcher. Who gives a fuck? He's a third. So why are they doing it? And the only reason that people have like given, beat reporters have given, is, and I'll say Dan Hayes because he came out, basically he hinted at that it was a chemistry move, that the vibes are up in the clubhouse, that Jackson is very well liked in the clubhouse, and that's why they did it. I know Ty is a big vibes guy. I think everyone on here is at least more high on vibes than I am. Vibes are great. I love it when my team is feeling good and they like each other. It makes me feel good as a fan because maybe they like the team that I'm playing for as much as I like watching them, and that makes me feel good as a fan. However, vibes can't hit a fastball. Vibes can't go stand out in left field. Vibes are not basically the 10th ranked global prospect in the minor leagues, whose name is Walker Jenkins, who has a 900 OPS since he came back from the injured list about a month ago. So you're choosing. What's that?
I've got a little additional. Man does not live off vibes alone.
Correct, and either does teams. So you're in a playoff hunt, and you just had the roughest stretch of your season, of your remaining schedule, and you went 3-6 in the most frustrating way possible, with a peak, with a hell of a valley, a hell of a peak, and again another valley. And you called up your best shortstop prospect 2 weeks ago in Kalen Culpepper, who's done fine, who's had a little bit of a spark. He hasn't been like world changing, but his head's above water. He's hit 2 home runs. He has like a 25% strikeout rate. Guy's doing fine. That's great. It was getting much more production than what they were getting out of Ryan Kreidler. But they will not call up Walker Jenkins when they only faced like 3 lefties in that whole bunch. Buxton has not looked good since he came off the IL. Somebody needs to play center field, and it's Ryan Kreidler. And God bless Ryan Kreidler. I love him as the 13th guy on the bench. The guy has been non-existent since basically the first 2 months of the season at the plate. He saved their ass at shortstop because it was a black hole defensively, and he really did a great job of at least being an above-average Major League shortstop. To go from abhorrent to above average is a hell of a leap, and Ryan Kreidler deserves all that credit. Why are you not using your best possible construction? And that's Walker Jenkins. And I know he's left-handed. I know Austin Martin is a right-handed hitter. Just call up your best prospect during the middle of the playoff push. And then when Dan Hayes has basically hinted at that, why aren't the Twins calling up Jenkins after calling up Culpepper? Well, they don't want to have 2 rookies during a playoff push because that might put both rookies in a bad spot. Bullshit. Bullshit. If you're that concerned about like going over a scouting report for 2 rookies instead of 1, just get another fucking coach. Bring another guy down from the front office and have him go over another scouting report with Walker. I don't care. It's such a weak fucking excuse, and it's very frustrating. And I really get this agitated over it, but there's no fucking logic to why you have your best prospect. You're just wasting the most important part of your schedule to just, have vibes? Well, enjoy 4th place and good chemistry, I guess. Congratulations.
Let me ask you this question, Eric. Does I, this is kind of a fuzzy question. Do the Twins actually want to make the playoffs?
I would argue no at this point, but
And what I mean is the Twins making the playoffs this season the best thing that could happen for the Twins this season? Because I feel like maybe there's an idea that the Twins have had such bad postseason. By the way, Eric, you going on that rant where I could only see your face and your hands and everything was black other than that was great. But now you've turned on a light and that's fantastic too. The Twins have had such bad performances in the postseason over, the last 10 years,
right.
that if you make the playoffs this season and you get bounced in 2 games, is that better or worse for the team than missing the playoffs by a couple games? You go maybe 78 and 80, what would it be, 78 and whatever, 84, and everyone goes, oh wow, the Twins overperformed. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here?
No, I do. I don't necessarily agree with the premise, because like anytime you can get in the playoffs, do it. Like, and I will, and I understand your point. I guess the point of buying at the trade deadline is you're going to play meaningful baseball in September, and I hope they do it, even though it looks like they're fading. But with this team, who knows? Maybe they'll sweep the White Sox coming up, because I think it's their next series. But they have had a terrible run in the playoffs. They have. So did the Red Sox for 80-something years, until they didn't. Now, payroll differences, division differences, like I'm not saying that's exactly apples to apples, but that is something that is true until it isn't. And I would even argue the Kansas City Chiefs, until Patrick Mahomes came along, did not have a stellar.
I mean, yeah, dude, that's absolutely correct. Look at you and your football knowledge, Eric.
That's it. I'm out. Like, and even then, I was like, it's one of those, like, I was like 75% sure, but I was waiting for like wait a minute, I'm out. I'm over my skis on this one. But anyway,
I think the Chiefs went 23 years without a playoff win.
yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, so I get, and also I've said it multiple times. The playoffs are such a crapshoot. Anyone that gets hot,
yeah,
win the World Series, and I would even dare to say, I even think someone in this division will win the World Series this year. I think this has been an absolutely ludicrous year. Why not have the most ludicrous thing happen? Somebody go on a run that nobody expects and beat the Dodgers, because they have no arms remaining and they're all on the IL. So, do I actually believe that? No, but if there's ever a year for it to happen, maybe this is it. So,
I'm gonna make another prediction that whoever gets that last wild card spot in the American League is not doing shit in the playoffs.
Keep in mind, the Rangers, 4 years ago, they were the last in the wild card, and they played awful basically the last 6 weeks up until they got to the playoffs. It does happen.
But still, I think the Rangers still won like 90 games that year, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a tough. It was like high 80s if I remember. Somebody can look this up too, but it was. They played. They were very. I think they were very good for the first half, faded a lot, and then just got hot at the right time. That's all you need to do in the playoffs. So.
I think it was the Diamondbacks who were the 6th seed, and the Rangers were like the 4th or 5th.
That could be.
It was a 5 versus
Rangers,
6.
The Rangers were 90 and 72 in 2023. Yes.
If the Chicago White Sox go from the worst team in the history of the world to winning what a story would that be? Wow. And it's not completely implausible.
Somebody had a meeting with Lucifer if that happened. And lest we forget, the Pope has also been.
The Pope has way too much influence. We need to sort that out. That should be banned.
I do want to acknowledge, if the Twins are that seriously worried about having 2 rookies on their team for the playoff stretch, they need to look no further than the team that's directly above them in the standings, who has like 6
Yes.
on their
Well,
team right now. Like,
I
and just
mentioned this.
added Angel Hanao a couple weeks ago.
I also just I mentioned this in my solo episode last week. In 2020, they called up Alex Kirilloff to make his playoff debut. That's the
Oh yeah.
same year that they were going to run with Brent Rooker and Ryan Jeffers, who were also rookies. You also in 2023, the last time they won a playoff series, Julian Wallner, Varland were all rookies, and you had no issue doing a playoff run with them. So it's such a weak. If that is their actual thinking, that is such weak logic. It does actually sound like they're doing it for vibes. And like Jeremy Zoll even said something like, well, there just hasn't been an opportunity for us to call up Walker. You know what the opportunity is? Calling St. Paul and be like, hey, Walker, you want to come up to the big leagues? There's the opportunity. You make the opportunity. Like Jenkins has done everything he can in AAA just to bang down the door, and they just don't. And like, I understand he's left-handed hitter, but they do not have their best major league roster if Jenkins is still in AAA. And then I'll also say Kendry Rojas just went went on the IL, the minor league IL. He shouldn't have been in AAA either. I know they're stretching him out because their starting depth is basically non-existent. Dean Kramer is right now their second best pitcher because Joe Ryan is out. Like their starting rotation is really going through it right now. And I get why is Kendry Rojas, who's again one of your best 13 arms in your organization, why is he in AAA? For the sake of starter depth. They need depth in the major leagues now. Like, what is this decision making you're doing? To where when Sam said, do the Twins want to make the playoffs? Their actions would maybe prove to me they don't actually care. And they're just kind of happy to just get along. But hey,
they bought at the deadline. I feel like that has to be like,
yes,
yeah, we're going to try and make the playoffs. I can't 3 weeks later decide, actually, maybe not. That seems like a lot. Like, come on.
And 2 of their additions, they do have till next year. So they did improve the team for next year. And like, that's great. I love both those trades. I love having Hoffman. I love the bullpen is actually a strength of the team. But I mean, they were never 50% to make the playoffs. Even at the start of the year when they were 20%. Even at their last week when they led the wild card, it was 40% according to Fangraphs. It's just, man, is it just frustrating. And also, why can you not just get a right-handed platoon bat so that when Austin Martin goes down, like half your fan base doesn't go in an uproar because you want to call up a third catcher? Like, oh my God, I don't understand. I truly don't understand it. It lacks logic, and vibes is the answer. And that really, honestly, it pisses me off more than anything, more than it should for just a baseball team. Anyway.
And to add to your point about rookies, the 2024 Tigers was like half rookies, and they got a game 5 of the ALDS. Like that team was like basically all rookies, and then a few actually experienced players. But like even those experienced players had not been in the league that long. It was like a bunch of 1, 2, 3 year guys, and then they ran very heavily unbiased, but they were also playing very well.
Also, like, what does that say about Walker Jenkins? Like, is he an axe murderer or something? Like, does he go around just like slapping everyone's ass and holding on for a second? Like, what is it? How is he going to ruin the vibe?
Is this really the answer to this, that they don't want to bring up Jenkins because they're worried about a lockout next year and accumulating? He can't be on the minor league team then. He's going to be accumulating service time and so on.
Then why call up Culpepper? I guess
because they don't care about Culpepper long term.
Because they're 2 different tiers of prospect.
They are, and like I just the Tigers had no problem calling up Max Clark, and Gleeman and the Geek went on a huge rant about this, so I'm not going to copy and paste. But their argument was basically everyone in the league is calling up their top prospects, but the Twins called up one of theirs, who, by the way, Culpepper was a top 25 global prospect, or at least an MLB pipeline, and he was top 50 in pretty much every list. Now there's a big gap between top 50 and top 10. Like that's a big jump. But the point still stands. And also you already have a rookie in Morris, by the way. You have essentially a rookie in Gomez who's kind of wearing down. So I don't know. The light is on, so I can
Well, I think the difference with the Max Clark calling up is that Max Clark's going to bring really good vibes
I guess.
That's
buys
to
true.
everyone
the
Julie.
clubhouse.
This is a known
I
fact.
think
If you look-
he's a high vibes guy. There's
If you
totally
look at-
not going to be an incident where Max Clark does something stupid at some point in his career.
You're just waiting for that to happen so that you can all jump and point and laugh, aren't you?
Well, yeah, of course we are.
If you guys actually look on their MILB prospect pipeline, there's actually a little stat that says vibes in like the bottom right hand corner, and it's right there.
And Walker Jenkins is just a picture of a middle finger on his vibes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and
No.
then Max Clark has a star on it. So.
Aw. A star and a little winky face. He seems like
Mhm.
he seems like the kind of guy that sends winky face after every text message.
Yeah,
Anyway,
or an eggplant emoji.
I mean,
That's worse.
it is much worse. He just is a big fan of vegetables. So, okay. Like I said, I've turned my light on. I can come out of the darkness.
I really enjoyed the Emperor Andros from Star Fox 64 thing you had going on there.
You're-
With just the hands in the face, giant head.
It doesn't giant head. Come on now, that was uncalled for. It didn't help too. I'm also wearing just a black shirt too, so like,
Yeah, that was like a black light theater effect that was going on there.
if I really planned it out, I would have just like, I would have had a light
Uh-huh.
on, pulled up a hood, and then like turned it off and brought in a candle and be like, "Let me tell you something, everyone."
Yeah, and then someone in the background starts going,
Just a little click. Yeah. West
Eric,
Side
I like what
Story,
looks
what's
like-
going on?
I like what looks like a bookcase that's like kind of fallen over in the corner, or is that just the aesthetics of the bookshelf?
That all right. So this is going to be a side tangent. So
So we're going to talk about two guys from each
Yeah,
of
I'm
our
with
four
Sam.
teams
I'm with
today,
Sam.
and I think first we can start out with I think we can start with the Twins if you want to,
Sure.
Eric.
We'll start with the Twins. The 3-second story is my wife bought those bookcases. She loves them. As someone who has a working bookcase and a lot of books, I hate them. I hate that. It's stupid. It's a stupid design. Don't tell her that, even though I've told her that all the times. Okay. Two dudes. We're going to talk about two guys because it's been a minute since we've done it. I thought that was kind of fun. And yeah, we wanted to do it again. So the first guy I wanted to talk about is actually in the bullpen, and one of the few guys who's actually, was he in the opening day bullpen? I can't remember because honestly, I want to blank out the Twins opening day bullpen from my brain for basically the rest of my life. But I've been up and down on this guy, but Cody Funderburk is really turning into someone we should pay attention to in terms of left-handed ground ball machine. You can see right now his ground ball percentage is 99th percentile. His hard hit percentage or rate is 99th percentile, which is he induces a lot of weak contact. And I'll be honest with you, I knew he had been pitching better. But as soon as I saw the sliders on Savant, I was like, wow, this might actually be for real. And when you take that on top of last year, it doesn't look all that different. Now it's gotten better. He still doesn't have a lot of chase. He doesn't get a lot of whiffs. His K rate's 31th percentile. He walks too many guys for a reliever, to be frank. But it's not like it's Eric Sabrowski territory. It's just, we'll say, Aroldis Chapman territory. Just bad. Well, it's pretty bad. It's 8th percentile. So then when you actually kind of look at some of his pitches, his traditional platoon spits, he has a 486 OPS against left-handed batters. That'll play. That's why you put in a lefty for a platoon matchup. What I will say for him, he was the second lefty when the first lefty was Taylor Rogers. So he was getting some incredibly friendly matchups for the first, like, let's say half. Let's say he's pitched 20 innings or 40 innings. Let's say the first 20 of them, he's got probably absurdly bottom of the lineup left-handed hitters instead of top of the lineup. So I'll leave that. But his OPS against righties is 674, and that's awesome for him to survive. He has to be at least manageable or playable against righties. and to have a sub 700 OPS against, that he can go a ways with that. He is on the older side. How old is he? He's 29 years old. He has a couple more years of team control. It's been really impressive on how he's doing it. He has a 14% weak contact rate. The league average for weak contact rate is 4%. He's more than tripled it. He's in Framber Valdez territory. And Lee, I'm sorry, I'm talking Framber Valdez maybe pre-2026. Because he is 8.8% pulled air percentage. Why does that matter? Because pulling balls in the air, that leads to a lot of home runs. And he is 2%, or basically half the league average, and he's 2% better than last year. So how is he doing it? Well, he's always been a sinker first guy, but his cutter has increased 7% in usage. His sinker has been okay. Expected slugging is 442. His actual slugging against is 372. His cutter, though, expected slugging against 217. That's how he's getting weak contact. The sinker who is designed to be hit on the ground, and then a cutter who is just designed to get right off the bat. I'm going to guess this 31% cutter versus 34% sinker. I'm going to guess that cutter is going to be well above the cutter for the rest of this year and then going into next year. That looks like a phenomenal pitch for him right now. His other pitches have done pretty well too. His sweeper, which he throws, I think he throws it to righties more than anything. But yeah, 20% there. Just been a good pitcher. And like, considering where the Twins were at the start of this year, where they had you could maybe argue Justin Topa was not a major league reliever anymore. It was Cole Sands and then a big drop off. And that's saying something, because Cole Sands, I think, and let's just say Cleveland's bullpen would have been the 7th or 8th guy. Maybe I'm being harsh on Cole Sands. He might have been the 5th guy. He might have like elevated, because he's not useless, but he certainly is underperformed in the last couple of years. But yeah, I've just been really, really encouraged by him. And it looks like he has team control over the next couple of years.
I'd be curious of how well he's tunneling those two fastballs off of one another, where he could just be being effective because he's throwing them from the same arm slot on the same plane, and they're just going. You've seen the pitching ninja stuff where they overlay the pitches and they go different directions. That he could just be getting effective off of that effect alone.
Right. And like we mentioned it a couple weeks ago, the trendy, every year there's a trendy pitch or a trendy thing for pitching. This year, or maybe last year too, it's throwing a different variant of a fastball. And for somebody who's just trying to induce weak ground balls, you can't really have a better two fastballs than a sinker and a cutter. Mariano Rivera is going in the Hall of Fame as the greatest reliever of all time because he threw the best cutter, maybe the best pitch in the history of baseball, and that's all he threw. Kenley Jensen, I'm sorry, Lee, has a near Hall of Fame career based off that same pitch. It's just, it's not going well in Detroit, so I'll stop.
Jensen's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Talking about. He's going into the Hall of the Tigers hat because he's ending his career with a fantastic stint in Detroit. And I just woke up from a coma in February. So that's, yeah.
And if you just look at his, if you look at his like underlying metrics, he looks like just a decent reliever. But yeah, he's had the worst possible impact as a closer. But anyway, let me move on to my next guy. Unless anybody wants to also gush over Cody Funderburk, but for someone who had no expectations, looking like a real find.
For a baseball name for a reliever, I'm going to give that a solid 9 out of 10.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Funderburk is pretty good. Now, if only he would give in and play Thunderstruck as his walk-in song, that's the only way that could get better. But
I feel like he kind of.
I was thinking Beyond Thunderdome.
That could be too. Either one. Just embrace it a little bit.
To me,
one reliever enters, 3 batters leave.
Oh, I love that. Sam,
fun.
I need you to apply to the Minnesota Twins marketing department or the graphics board guys. I need you. Yep. That needs to happen.
See, he just loses a little bit of aura points for having to specify it's Cody with a K. That's a little lame.
We mentioned this last year. There have only been 2 Codys with a K in the history of Major League Baseball, and both of them are on the Twins this year and last year. Cody Clemens and Cody Funderburk. There are no other Codys with a K in the history.
Wow, I never
of
knew
baseball.
that before. This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
No, it's not. Anyway, it's a stupid fact that you would maybe win at a bar trivia if the bar trivia is incredibly niche and in
held
Minnesota.
in Minneapolis.
So I'll move on to the next guy, and it's Brooks Lee, who's having a pretty decent year. He was a top 10 pick. He has like a 105 OPS plus, but at no point is he ever a 105 OPS plus guy. He's either an 85 or a 120. He's very streaky. He's a switch hitter. He's just developed a lot more power than anyone thought. And the reason I picked him, it's because I just don't know if I believe in it. He doesn't square up the ball that much. He's a switch hitter, and like the right field in target field, while it does have the tall wall, it's not that deep. It's 328 down the line. It's not like really short. It's not the 308 or whatever it is in Yankee Stadium, but it's certainly not that deep. He really is a pull hitter. I don't believe he's going to reach like the height that he has at the top, 10 pick a couple years ago. But I think if he can just come into the solid regular, that's incredibly value for him. He's going to put up maybe 2.5 WAR for this year. He might hit 25 home runs. He was known just for his hit tool coming out of college, and his batting average is only 247. His career batting average is 238. So he does have the ability to make contact with almost everything. You can see his K percentage is 78th percentile. Everything else is just kind of lukewarm. His outs above average for defense, I'm a bit hesitant. Like, it's bad, but he had -4 outs above average as a shortstop, or at -4 or -5 outs above average as a shortstop. As a third baseman, he's just been average, there's positivity to that. What I would also mention for Brooks is maybe don't get comfortable there, because Merrick Houston is lighting up AAA or lighting up AA, and he is a phenomenal defensive shortstop. Culpepper, who just got called up, obviously, will likely get moved to third base. So Brooks Lee is probably moving over to second sometime in the next year or so if it works out with Merrick Houston. Dan, do I have permission to like maybe steal? Actually, we'll use this as a transition because I peeked at our notes. So sorry, Lee. I know we have the Tigers next, but I'm gonna make a call because the reason I looked at here is I remember looking at a certain player on Cleveland's Savant page, and I can't help but think Brian Rocchio and Brooks Lee have very similar career paths. Rocchio is a much better defender. I'd much rather have Rocchio than Brooks Lee, but I did see Dan had him in his notes that he wants to talk about it. So I want to leave that in mind, and I'm curious what Dan's thoughts and expectations are on Rocchio, where I'm thinking Brooks Lee can be solid major league guy, and that's kind of his ceiling. Anyway, Dan, I'll pass it off to you so you can talk about Brian Rocchio.
Well, as I was going to do this, consider my thunder stolen, because my lead-in was going to be, I want you guys, pop quiz. Who do you think was leading the Cleveland Guardians in Fangraphs WAR on June 2nd? Anybody still want to guess?
I don't know, man. Is it Gabriel Arias?
I wish. That would be amazing. It wasn't Jose Ramirez. It wasn't Chase DeLauder. It wasn't even Parker Messick. It was Brian Rocchio. Brian Rocchio led the Cleveland Guardians on June 2nd in Fangraphs WAR. He did that because he was having a stellar year at that point in time. He was second in runs scored on the team. He was second in steals. He was batting .295, which led the team. Brian Rocchio was almost hitting .300. more than 2 months into the
Mhm.
season. He was second in the team on base, 376. He had a WRC plus of 128, which is second best on the team at that point in time as well. Since June 2nd, he's significantly worse in terms of getting those stolen bases. He's scoring significantly fewer runs. I said he batted 295 through June 2nd. Since, he's batting 220. His on base since June 2nd is 265. That's lower than his batting average was in those first 2 months plus. His WRC plus, 68. He still has positive WAR because, as Eric pointed out, he's been a very good defensive shortstop. He isn't perfect. I think occasionally he makes, honestly, a boneheaded play here and there, but he has good range. He generally plays a strong shortstop. Weirdly, he does still have the second most RBI during that span, and I think that's more of kind of an indictment on the offense in general. But he was hitting ninth for most of that period of time, entire period of time when he was batting. He was batting ninth for the entire time when he was between opening day and June 2nd. He did get bounced around in the lineup after that, but that disparity hasn't been the reason. Like, June 2nd isn't the day that they moved him up in the order. He got moved up in the order because of the aforementioned Bloody Saturday. They needed basically bodies to elevate higher in the lineup because they lost 3 of their best hitters. Here's the biggest thing that I noticed as I was kind of doing this deep dive on Rocchio and what's happened in the last 2.5 months. In that first span of time, his walk rate was 9%. He was walking 9% of the time. His K rate was 12% of the time. They're close, 3 percentage point difference. Since, his walk rate is 4.5, his K rate is 16.5. He is literally walking half of the time that he was before. I delve deeper into this. He is making Fangraphs does a wonderful job of showing you how often guys swing at balls that are in the zone, out of the zone, if they make contact with either of those, all these kind of batted ball stats. He's making contact less often with balls outside of the zone. So he's swinging and missing more often when the balls are out of the zone. To me, that feels to me like, wait a minute, that should be a good thing. Even if he's swinging and missing, you get 3 chances, and you're likely to not make good contact when you swing at balls out of the zone. Additionally, he's swinging more often in general. He has been more aggressive, but in a way that's kind of marginal. It was only a couple percentage points different. He's also swinging more often at balls in the zone, and those he is hitting a little bit more often. So you would think not hitting balls out of the zone as much, hitting more balls in the zone, you'd think things would be trending the right direction. You'd think you'd be doing better. Here's how that's a red herring. His xwOBA, which measures the quality of his contact, how well he is hitting the ball at any, time after time after time on average, on balls outside of the zone, according to Statcast, his xwOBA was 374 from opening day to June 2nd. To give you an idea of what 374 is, for the season, Freddie Freeman has a 374 xwOBA. So from opening day to June 2nd, Brayan Rocchio on balls out of the zone was hitting as well as Freddie Freeman does all the time. And by the way, his WOBA, his actual WOBA, was overperforming, but it was only slightly. It was 390. He was in the 390s. So it was pretty true to form. He was hitting the ball very, very well, and he was getting equivalently good results. Since June 2nd, his xwOBA on balls outside the zone is 259, and he is underperforming that at 191. He randomly became a really good bad ball hitter for 2+ months. That's how Brayan Rocchio had the stellar start to this year that he had. He, out of nowhere, just decided he was a good bad ball. He was Vladimir Guerrero Sr. for 2 months and a few days. I was curious. Well, is he generally, like, maybe this is an aberration more recently? Maybe he's always been a good bad ball hitter and nobody's really noticed. His xwOBA on balls outside the zone since 2024 is 302. The league average is 298. he's an average. He's just like everybody else generally. He's significantly overperformed on hitting balls outside the zone for 2 months. And that is how he was such a good offensive player from opening day to June 2nd, unfortunately. He was doing it. Like it wasn't like he was severely overperforming his contact, but I don't feel like that's a sustainable way to live your life. And it was a really fun couple of months, but I'm afraid Brian Rocchio is not that ball player moving forward. The nice thing is Angel Hanau has been called up, and I think he looks pretty good, but it's only been like 2 weeks. So I don't know what shortstop holds in the future for this Cleveland Guardians team. Rocchio has a high ceiling because he fields the ball very well, and I'm not trying to push him off this roster. That's not my point. My point is more, I don't expect what I got earlier this year from Rocchio in the long run. That's my story on Brian Rocchio. I'd be curious if anybody has any thoughts.
We have someone in the chat, which I don't think there's an answer to this, is there? How do Randall become a great at hitting balls outside the zone?
I think if I could, and this is purely a guess, but a combination of luck and confidence. Things are going well, so you're seeing the ball well. Throw out a cliche, and that kind of breeds more success sometimes. On top of just
Did you by
luck.
chance see like, is this is it literally just a small sample of, and I don't even mean in terms of at bats because it's like what first 3 months of a random season.
I'd have to go back. It wasn't like 12. It was.
I'd be curious how many like swings that like really going granular and be like, is this less than 100 swings and he just got lucky on 5 more or something like, and he had a home run off like 3 more, had good contact. I don't know.
I could probably recreate it quickly enough that I can have an answer before the show's over. But
fair enough.
I don't think it was that small. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting to me, just if you look at like the first month or two of how the Guardian season was going, we were getting all these like really great performances from players that maybe you didn't expect, or like we're just kind of continuing up, or like I'm thinking Schneemann, Arias, and Rocchio, and I think and they all kind of like went way down. Like Arias I think he's on the Cubs now. Schneemann is still in the minors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
and Rocchio has just sucked for the past couple of months. The only reason the Guardians are anywhere near a wild card position is because all the young players they called up have been doing great.
But do they have too many rookies?
I think it's really interesting because they're not. I mean, they're obviously not letting the world on fire, but they're nowhere near sniffing even where they are right now. If they didn't get those stellar starts from Rocchio and Schneemann and Arias and so on and so on and so on, like imagine if they didn't play that well earlier this year. We're probably, not to throw a jab at the Royals, but probably somewhere near where the Royals are. Like, yeah. Since you mentioned Gabriel Arias, I was just curious when I was doing all this, and I looked up. Juan Soto is the best bad ball hitter currently in the league. I was curious. And the worst was Gabriel Arias, actually. He had the worst xWOBA on balls outside the zone this year. So
That's kind of funny.
He's now with the Cubs, isn't he?
Yeah, he's bounced from the Mets to the Cubs. So
That's a sign of great success, getting bounced from the Mets.
yeah, no kidding.
Talk about failing upward.
Yeah. I mean, he could jump on the Cubs and like, I think Dan, you talked about him as being like very like streaky. What if he just goes on a heater for the next like 2 months and becomes like a postseason hero for the Cubs, much like Eddie Rosario for the Braves winning an ALCS MVP.
Don't bring that up because he was a Guardian earlier that year too. So
fair enough. It hurt both of us equally. It's amazing when you swing it literally anything your way. You might find a couple barrels during the most important part of the season and win yourself up an MVP.
While we were chatting, it looks like that time frame of opening day to June 2nd, the number of pitches that Brian Rocchio saw during that time that were outside of the zone was 463. I'm still working on how many actual like
Swings
outcomes it was, but yeah. Shall I move to my second player? I think I will.
Do it.
Yep.
my second player is a much more positive story, Matt Festa, which for most Guardians fans, you're going, that's a positive story? Yes, it is. Matt Festa, I've talked about a little bit on the show before. He's a reliever that I would say is reliably and solidly on what I refer to as the B team of relievers for this Guardians staff. He often is more so pitching in lower leverage when they're losing, when they're up big, etc. One of his kind of best traits, though, is he can pitch 2 innings at a time. He can give a little bit of length. It's probably why he hasn't been, at least earlier this season, why he wasn't pushed off the roster. He's also much maligned by the fan base for I can't entirely describe why, other than the fact that he's not nearly as effective as some of the other players that have been in this bullpen over the last couple of years. He hasn't been at that level. But I think this year in particular, he tends to. This offense has been so bad that when he comes into a game where they're down 2 and they're not wanting to use Cade Smith and Eric Zabrowski and Hunter Gaddis, and he gives up a run and now they're down 3, it feels insurmountable because of the way this offense has been all year. And so I think that really riles people up. Since the All-Star break, he hasn't pitched a ton. It's just a little over. He pitched an inning today and it was scoreless. So it's a little over 6 innings. But during this very small period of time, he has a 30% K rate, which is better than anybody on this team. I'm sorry, which is better than Parker Messick, Joey Cantillo, Hunter Gaddis, or Tanner Bybee. His walk rate's only 4.5%, which is better than everybody but Parker Messick. And he hasn't allowed a home run. You would think, again, I know it's a small sample, but you would think with that, this guy, his numbers since the break should be dominant. He's been excellent so far. And there should be nobody kind of upset with how he's performed. And to that point, his FIP since the break is 165. But his ERA is 352. And it's because he has a BABIP of 439.
Oof.
439.
Literally
And
that muck.
it's not a matter of allowing, like, okay, well, maybe he's giving up missiles. Like, that could be the case. He's not walking anybody and he's striking people out, but maybe when it is in play, they're drilling him. His xWOBA is 255, which would be 4th best on the team during this period of time. Only Messick, Cade Smith, and Gavin Williams have had better xWOBAs than Matt Festa since the All-Star break. He also, during this period of time, by the way, has suffered a loss. He has one loss. It was an extra inning loss. And his sin in that game was he allowed the Manfred runner to score from second base on a jam job humpback line for right field by Bo Bichette. And Francisco Lindor scores from second on this little blue. And then Bichette tried to stretch it into a double and got thrown out at second. And then Festa struck out the next 2 guys, and that was the inning. That was the thing that Matt Festa did to lose a game. And that just feels emblematic of his season since the break. So, to be fair, he was basically a league average pitcher in the first half. He has a ERA for the entire season of 3.86. Quite frankly, I just think in Cleveland we're a little bit spoiled with this sort of thing, where we just have great relief pitching, and we seem to be able to find more of it. Cade Smith, Hunter Gaddis, Colin Holderman, Eric Zabrowski, etc. And so we can all be a little bit nicer to Matt Festa. He's been excellent lately, and when he hasn't been, it hasn't been his fault. And I just wanted to say that out loud for the benefit of Cleveland fandom, because he's honestly been maybe the second best relief pitcher on this team in the last 5 weeks.
He's always been kind of the whipping horse for the fan base, hasn't he? Like last year, this year.
And I feel like I think I've talked about this before. I feel like every team has at least one reliever that everybody just hates.
Yeah.
Because they remember the times that they came into the game and they blew it, but don't remember any times where they set the side down 1-2-3 in the 7th inning of a game, because that's not nearly as memorable.
I'm gonna guess too. He's probably like he typically sees action in the 6th and the 7th, not necessarily the 8th and the 9th.
Yeah, and
I could also. This is just a working theory, so I obviously haven't looked this up. But like, you have typically a pretty good starting pitching from Cleveland, and when he does come in, maybe he does give up a run or two, and then it's just they lose a lead that they may have had, and because the offense isn't necessarily a powerhouse that can flip a couple games in the 6th and the 7th, that might have an outsized impact.
I think he's, like I said at kind of the intro to him, I think he's coming into a lot of games where the Guardians are losing by 2. He's allowing a run, now they're losing by 3. And with this offense, people are freaking out because, especially earlier this year, coming back from a 3-run deficit feels Herculean. So, yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it. And also, I don't know, he's stuck in everybody's minds for some reason.
Well, poor guy. Can't wait for him to go on a deep playoff run and just be nails.
I sure hope so. We'll find out.
We can probably switch over to the Tigers. And this first player, I'll be honest, I've never heard of before in my life. So, Lee, I have to ask you, especially for the first time, who the hell is Ben Malgiri?
He's just a guy, man. He's just kind of a dude. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna be a little. So I was going into this episode. I was like, okay, we're gonna do 2 players. I want to do one positive, one negative. I knew immediately who was super negative. It was very obvious for me. But the positive, I was just looking through the baseball reference page, like you do not start with these players do not give me joy right now to watch. Like Kevin McGonigal was rough for me. And then I'm like, yeah, Ben Malgiri, he's been nice. I want to talk about him a little bit. So this is more of he's the only one who has not hurt me in the past few weeks. So I'm good. And also he's kind of a fun story to talk about. So otherwise I would talk about Kevin McGonigal, but he's been rough for a couple weeks, so he doesn't get that right now. I don't like the Tigers right now. They're kind of being awful. So anyway. Yeah, Ben Malgiri. He's just a guy. I mean, right now he's playing pretty well. He's got a 123 OPS plus, I believe, and 60 at bats or whatever. So that's not the biggest sample size, but it's not the tiniest either. He walks a lot, which is really nice. He hits the ball well, which is nice. He plays above average defense. He can play left, right, or center, which is nice. He's just like a really nice. He's kind of just there. He's nice. He's not really causing any problems. He's an 18th round draft pick, which I think is really fun. That's really cool to see. He's speedy. I think does he have a future as a long-term right fielder? No, but he's going to be a good bench player, a good 4th outfielder, a good defensive replacement or pinch hitter, or pinch runner type of guy. And I think that's okay. I think it's kind of. Yep. I think he's just kind of a neat guy. He's been kind of sitting in the minors for a little while now, and glad he can get his shot and kind of show what he's got.
I mean, everyone needs a 4th outfielder. Can I say that I thought it was illegal for the team to have a 4th outfielder who was a right-handed cornerbat. I didn't realize, based off
Oh, and he died.
My team's decision making that was even in the cards. Are you saying
it can be done? I know.
I never thought there was proof.
It's Exeter, New Hampshire, which I think is fun. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of like, he's a guy. He's just kind of there, and it's fun, and I'm all here for it. His nickname is apparently Chomp, which I do not know the backstory on that, nor do I understand it, but I don't care. It's fun.
I was going to say, somebody had to have asked him why his name was Chomp.
I have not found the footage of that, if it's online somewhere.
I mean, unless he has an incredibly wide mouth or something like that, or I don't know. He probably ate something gigantic in middle school, and then that nickname has just stayed with him since then.
He was in rookie ball and he ate an apple in 3 bites, and everyone's like, "Whoa, dude, you really chopped that apple," or something dumb like that, or whatever. So.
Or isn't the Mario the guys on the balls and chain, aren't their name Chompers? Maybe he's a big fan of Mario.
You might be right. Maybe he's really into Mario. I don't know. Anyway, my point is he deserves a little bit of love because he also had a 2-homer game last week. That was fun. So yeah, I like giving, bench players and utility guys their flowers because they're kind of underrated, and I think it's fun to appreciate those type of players. But yeah, Ben Malgiri, he's the guy. I guess that's what I landed on for him.
We'll see.
He
Hopefully,
walks a lot. Like he's really good at just getting on base. Like he's batting 250. He's not extraordinarily powerful. He's not extraordinarily good at contact. But he has good taste. He has good at bats.
and not for like, I'll bring up. Oh my goodness, Kyler Fedko from the Twins a couple months ago. I believe Fedko and Malgiri, I feel, are in the same boat. That I don't think they were ever very hype prospect. Lee, tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm assuming this is the same for Malgiri. He just did really well in AAA to the point where he did well enough that the team gave him a couple of at-bats. The difference is Kyler Fedko went 0 for 14 in like 3 weeks, and Malgiri had a heater. And the difference in their careers might be Malgiri might have a 3-year major league career because of what he did initially. And Kyler Fedko will probably be in Japan or a minor league system maybe the rest of his career. So he took advantage of the playtime he got and let it run.
Yeah. I mean, we DFA'd James Outman instead of sending him back down to Toledo. I think that's interesting enough. And we apparently really liked James Outman as a defensive replacement. So even though he's tough.
I was about to say, if you said Vibes, I was waiting for you to say Vibes. And I was about to say, you can't cut him. Those clubhouse will fall apart if you cut someone over Vibes. I'm projecting. I'm very sorry. I will stop doing that. No, I won't.
Yeah, I don't really have a ton to say about him because he was kind of just like the only player on the Baseball Reference page that I'm not actively disappointed in right now. So I was looking. No, I'm not even joking. I was looking through and I was like, I forgot Matt Veerling has been out for 3 weeks because I just kind of forgot about that. It shows you where I've been with teaming up with Tigers because we're also kind of very slow on outfield. Anyway, not the point. But yeah, he's kind of, I think it's, he's a decent enough player. He'll stick around for a little while. See what happens.
Sure. Now let's talk about the not so good.
Yes. So I just put the entire Tigers bullpen, which should be recognized by the U.S. government as an official terrorist organization because that's what they are. They are terrorists. I'm not even exaggerating a little bit because they are awful. Here's a fun stat. So per Fangraphs, they are second in blown saves. They have 26 blown saves, which is second to the Nationals, which have 33. They have, 27 blown saves.
33. 26 is high, but 33 is because the Nationals have 60 wins, don't they?
They're not great, no.
But yep, they're not great because they've blown 33 saves. Jesus.
It gets worse. It gets worse. The Tigers have 27 blown saves and 26 saves. So that means they have more blown saves than saves. Do you want to guess how many other teams have that stat? Where they have more blown saves than saves?
I hope not.
You would be correct. There are 0. The Tigers are the only one. There's a couple of teams who have the same amount, but the Tigers are the only team with more blown saves than saves. They have the worst save percentage in the league. It is disgusting. But they have the 10th or they have the 8th best ERA. Do you know how psychotic that is? That means they're up by 5, they're fine. They're down by 7, they're fine. But they're leading by 1, 2, or 3. Awful, terrible. They will lose that game. Here's one more stat, which my coworker actively sought me out to show me this because I needed to see this, and he was correct. I did need to see this. So if you isolate for Tigers relievers in high leverage situations in 7th inning or later, they have a 10 ERA, which is 30th. They have a 384 WOBA, which is 30th. They have a 301 average, which is 30th. They have a 532 slugging, 30th. But if you look at expected stats, they are 7th in xFIP and 11th in K to walk rate. But here's a crazy stat for you. 25.9% of fly balls go for home runs, and 20% of runners on base do not score, which is 30th. That means 80% of runners on base will score. Do you realize how insane that is?
That's very hard to do.
25% of the fly balls hit against this bullpen in high leverage situations are home runs.
Because I think what is the inherited run rate? It's like 25% or something. 25% of runners. Now somebody look that up, but I think it's certainly well below 50% of inherited runners scoring, and the Tigers have tripled that.
It's awful. In high leverage situations, they are the worst bullpen in Major League Baseball by a fucking mile, by a lot. This is why they are the worst bullpen in baseball, because they're just discussed 10 ERA in the high leverage situations, 532 slush. Do you realize that's insane? That's so bad. I can talk about a few players here, but really I'm just going to talk about one, which is Kenley Jansen, because here's another insane stat, which I will put an asterisk on it. I did not fact check this. This is from Guy on Twitter. So if Guy on Twitter is leading me wrong, I apologize, but this feels real. So here's the stat. But in the years 2022 to 2026, the Tigers bullpen has given up 5 walk-off home runs in those years. 5. Kenley Jansen in the year 2026 has given up 4 walk-off home runs. Do you realize how insane that is?
We kind of did a little deep dive in our own in the Discord chat earlier this week about Kenley. I will say I did the deep dive. I think Lee just wanted to like get out of the conversation as fast as she could, because I kept like, it's like when somebody is like already been burnt by boiling water and I'm like following around with a ladle and just splashing a little bit more on them as they run away. You got to look at more in sliders on Baseball Savant, but like, there's nothing that like his walk rate is bad, his ground ball rate is bad, but that's been his entire career. There's nothing that like screams Kenley Jansen is having the worst season of his career as far as a closer and effectiveness, but it's just the worst case scenario in so many games.
Do you want to know the game on Thursday? Yeah, game on Thursday against the Pirates. The Tigers are leading by 1 run in the bottom of the 9th. I am having a conversation with my coworker, and I'm like, oh man, the Tigers are leading, but I'm really nervous about this one because Kenley Jansen then. And my coworker who like knows about baseball is like, shit, Jansen, I do not like that. And then I check my phone, and I'm like, oh, never mind, the game is tied now. And he's like, God damn it. And then like 3 minutes pass, and I look at my phone. Oh, never mind, we lost the game. Like, that is how quickly he blew. He gave up 2 solo home runs in the bottom of the 9th. He has given up 2 walk-off home runs to Brandon Lau this season. Do you realize how insane that is? Like, what is going on? It's insane. I kind of hate it. But a part of me is like, I wonder how
Kind of.
we can get.
I have a question about not Kenley, but the entirety of the bullpen. Did you happen to watch the Foolish Bailey video that came out this week about AJ Hinch and how he utilized his bullpen?
I watched like 10 minutes of it, and then I'm like, I don't need to watch the rest of this. I know where this is going.
I do just have a comment on that really quick. Just that his basic premise is that Hinch has done a bunch of stuff to overutilize his relievers. He's put them in bad spots at times. I'm not necessarily here to focus on that portion of it. what he talks about a lot is that time from like the end of April through May, where things were going really poorly, obviously for the Tigers. And he gets very into like overutilizing the relievers and all this stuff. But to me, what I remember from that period of time is the starting pitching was Ida Montero, who was getting built up. It was Flaherty who was going through it, couldn't seem to get pitch into a fifth inning because his pitch count was so high all the time. Framber, who was up and down, and then like Mize made 3 starts, Melton made 2, Drew Anderson made a start, and then 5 openers: Hannafy twice, Holton twice, Birch Smith once. To me, he was all worried about overextending the bullpen. The bullpen was overextended because the starting pitching couldn't pitch into the fifth inning.
Right.
Yeah, we
Like,
had no
and
starters.
Go ahead.
We had no starters. There was that week where Mize got re-injured again. Skubal went on the IL. Flaherty was awful. Verlander was not pitching. Melton was out. And then Framber Valdez threw a pitch at the Boston Red Sox that got himself suspended for a week. So we had nobody to pitch starter. It was incredible. Like, we were running bullpen days 3 out of like 2 or 3 days a week for a couple weeks.
So I think Bailey, if you're watching this, I think you're a wonderful baseball YouTuber. You're certainly a better baseball YouTuber than I am. But in this one, I get your premise, but I think pointing the finger at Hinch on this is missing the point of the Tigers didn't have anybody to start games, and that's why their bullpen was overextended in May. And that may have had a drag-on effect for the rest of the year, quite frankly.
I think what I took away from that video was, yeah, it was very critical on Hinch. And also, you should go watch it. I thought it's a very interesting video. Because you can I think Dan and I took separate points away from this, is that if you look at the Tigers bullpen usage, Hinch never goes back-to-back days with guys. But what he will do is an up-down, and that he will have them end an inning and then come back out for an inning. And that, it's not like a new frontier as far as bullpens go. They've been asked to do that for as long as bullpens have been a thing. But one of the issues is with this velocity, like this generation of bullpen arms, an up-down can be pretty rough for some of them. And some of the criticism he had for not pulling the starters, it was specifically over Montero, because there was a game, and now it's a singular game, and I want to preface that, where Montero had like 60 pitches through the fifth inning.
I know exactly which game
and he
it was.
pulled, and I think it must have been Drew Anderson or someone like that, and he pulled him instantly. And I get Montero he's establishing himself, and a lot of managers have a very quick hook for pitchers who have not established themselves. But it does kind of seem like maybe I took his argument as, let your starters at least finish that inning and then have your bullpen come out with a clean inning and then ride them for that inning. And then, it was overuse, but a different type of overuse is what I took away from it.
Yeah, the way this is my impression of how Hinch manages bullpens and starters from just watching the team, is the way, like, when pitchers are starting to get towards like the later innings, like the 6th, the 5th, kind of in there, if there's in the 6th inning and the pitch count's like in the 80s, as soon as the pitcher like puts the guy on base, he pulls them, basically, because he doesn't want to let the inning get out of control if a guy is tired. I think that's kind of the philosophy he has. He also really likes putting a guy in for the last out of an inning and then bringing him in for the next inning and then repeating that, because that way he can really control who the pitcher is facing. That's kind of how he does it.
To push against my own point I made a moment ago, Montero in this case is a very good example. If you're going through it and you haven't had a guy pitch into the 6th inning in a week, maybe if Montero is pitched, maybe you risk it this one time and you let Montero finish the 6th because he's at 65 pitches or whatever. Like, I get that, but there was a lot of circumstance going on there too, I felt like. That's all.
Yeah, I don't really like a lot of. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch the video because I don't really want to watch just I'm trying to think of how to put this. A lot of baseball YouTubers have a lot of dislike and general feelings of unfriendliness towards AJ Hinch for fairly founded reasons, but then they flavor that into their like how they criticize the Tigers and his management when it does not. Those two things do not relate at all, and so I just don't really like watching non-Tigers people criticize Hinch because I'm like, well, you're just saying that because you're still pissed about the Astros thing. That's kind of how I view a lot of baseball YouTube stuff a lot of the time.
You don't need to, like, if you had just a quick answer for this, but Made the Cut is a Tigers fan. Do you have any particular?
Oh yeah, I like his stuff.
Fair enough.
I don't watch all of his videos, but I watch some of them.
He's good for a quick hit, and like sometimes I do think he's a bit of I'm a homer, so like sue me. He's a fan. He's doing very well, but I was just curious because he does wear the Tigers fan, and he doesn't hide that he's a Tigers fan either. So I was just curious.
Yeah, okay. I watch some of his stuff, not like all the time, but occasionally.
He's good for the biggest thing that happened yesterday in a 3-minute video that you can get caught up on. Like he's very good at that.
Yeah, it can be fun.
Okay, so we can probably move on to the Royals, unless Lee, you had anyone else you wanted to like assassinate over the bullpen, or if you just wanted to end the conversation.
I just do a couple quick hits. Kyle Finnegan sucks, and I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. He's like another case of fine and low leverage, but put him in a high leverage situation, and you've lost the game pretty much. Jacob Waggersback has actually been good, and I like him because his name is Waggersback, and we picked him up for cash from the Brewers, so that's fun. He's like quietly like the most reliable part of the stupid bullpen. Let's see. Holton has kind of returned to form after a rough couple of months, but he also just has his moments. I mean, the problem is a lot of the guys are injured. Will Vest is out for the season. Herter, I don't know if we're going to see him this season at all, and he was great. The issue is our best guys either suck or are hurt, so it's just nobody that I really trust. Hanafi has been doing his up and down in the minors because he kind of just sucks now, I guess. Like he's supposed to be a ground ball pitcher, but he kept giving up home runs. They're all trash, and I don't like them. How about we just put it like that? I like Ty Madden, though.
There you go. You found the one. 1 out of 7 or 1 out of 8.
They're just awful. They're bad, and I don't like them. They are terrorists. They're disgusting. It's so bad.
I can't wait for the algorithm to now link us with a bunch of like political commentators now. Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Right, I'm done. Sorry.
Sir, a second Tigers reliever has hit the tower.
To be fair, the Tigers reliever would probably miss. No, that would be the hitters. I'm sorry. That joke didn't work. Shoot. Because you want the relievers to miss. You want the hit. Anyway, it's bad. It was a bad joke in poor taste.
Yeah, shame on you for your poor taste joke, Eric. How dare you?
It was lowbrow, and even for a joke that was already pretty lowbrow. But anyway, speaking of lowbrow, Sam, let's talk about the Royals.
Yeah, speaking of tragedies, let's move on to the Royals. I got two guys here who I want to talk about, and I'm not going to spend a whole heck of a long time on this, but I want to talk about Tyler Tolbert. And Tyler Tolbert has been putting together a pretty good year for the Royals this year. Of course, earlier in the year, he had his record-tying hits over at bats or plate appearances streak, whichever one it was, where he went 12 for 12. So that is pretty impressive. And he's been good. And it's worth mentioning that this is his age 28 season. So he is not a young guy by any stretch of the imagination, but this is his sophomore season. And maybe sort of the mold of like a Whit Merrifield type, who the Royals had many years ago, who was also a bit of a late bloomer. But look, he's put up 0.8 WAR in 58 games. His WAR is hurt a little bit by the fact that he has made 4 pitching appearances this season, where he's gotten blown up more often than not, but that's okay. He has had a 791 OPS and a 125 OPS plus during that time. So decent numbers, can play all over the field. And I think the biggest reason why I want to talk about Tolbert is because I think he needs to be a part of the plan for next year. And I'm not saying that he needs to be starting, playing every day, doing anything like this. But you have a guy who's come up through 58 games and he's played, pretty well for a team that needs guys who can put up a 125 OPS plus. So not starting every day, but I definitely think he needs to get a chance and he needs to be a part of the plan next season and beyond, because I think he's a very versatile player and they love him on the Royals fan sites. Tyler Tolbert, let me tell you this, they've been calling for him to get a chance for a while. So it's good to see Tyler Tolbert getting some love in the major leagues. And he's been, again, even though he has kind of, obviously fallen off a little bit since his 12 for 12 streak, he's been playing solid. So Tyler Tolbert, good for you. Let's see some more.
Not for now that he's played. When you say he has played everywhere, you literally mean it. It's everywhere but catcher this year.
Yeah. He has appeared, I believe, at every position except for catcher.
Yeah.
This season,
including pitcher, like you said.
Including pitcher, absolutely. So that's good to see. Good to see Tyler Tolbert getting a chance. Speaking of getting a chance, I want to talk about a guy who I don't know if I've ever really fully talked about on this podcast, but a guy who I really like, and I was really excited when the Royals brought back Jose Cuas. Was one of the guys that the Royals signed off of the scrap heap to shore things up in the bullpen with all the injuries that they've had. He's pitched. I know he pitched today and he gave up a run, but he's pitched 13 innings this season. He's got 0.4 wins above replacement in that time and a 2.82 ERA plus. Now, again, that's a small sample size. That's only 13 innings. But, again, he's been pretty good for the Royals. And I want to talk about him. I want to talk about his story and where he comes from. So he was initially drafted in the 11th round by the Brewers out of the University of Maryland. And he was a hitter initially. He was an infielder, played all over the infield, and was drafted in the 11th round by the Brewers. Didn't have a very good time in the Brewers organization. And then in 2018, they decided to convert him to a pitcher. And that didn't go particularly well. He had an ERA over 8 for the Brewers organization that season. And he was released by the organization, and he called his brother after he got released. And he basically told his brother, like, hey, I'm done. I'm not playing ball anymore. And his brother encouraged him to keep going and not give up. So he went and he signed with the Long Island Ducks, who are an independent baseball team in Long Island. And during his time with the Long Island Ducks, he actually ended up pitching with Francisco Rodriguez, who I'm imagining at that time in 20.
Just a quick time. Who in the Long Island Ducks has this in with every former MLB player? Anytime you hear the independent league, it's always the Long Island Ducks, it seems.
I'm guessing they have a rich owner who's got some connections. I think that's probably what's going on there.
That's the correct answer. Good job.
But anyway, got a chance to play with Francisco Rodriguez with those Long Island Ducks. And during that time, K-Rod told him that he should throw sidearm because he saw him warming up throwing sidearm one day and was encouraged to do so. So he started doing that, and that earned him a spot in the Arizona Diamondbacks minor league system and was there for a little while. But then, as we know, the pandemic hit, and he was out of baseball during the 2020 season. And he decided to get a job as a FedEx delivery driver during the pandemic. And after he was done working, him and his brother would go train at a baseball field somewhere in Brooklyn. And that's what he did, and that's how he got back to playing ball. Went back to the Ducks for a little bit, and then in 2021 he was able to sign a deal with the Royals organization. Went up the ranks of the Royals organization, and in 2022 made his major league debut against the Cleveland Guardians, where he had a 1-2-3 inning. So good job there by Jose Cuas. But that's not where the story ends, because he made the Royals opening day roster in 2023, got traded to the Cubs. Then in in that same 2023 season, he got DFA'd. Then in 2024, he was claimed by the Blue Jays, got DFA'd again, got claimed by the Phillies, went down to the minor leagues, got cut again. Didn't play ball at the major league level at all in 2025. He was bouncing around the Braves organization, where he got cut in 2025. And then this season, the Royals signed him again off the scrap heap. And here he is pitching in the big leagues. So that's Jose Cuas. And that's a guy who, as I said, when I saw that he was coming back, I was excited about that, because he's got a really nice story. And I'm glad that he is able to continue playing ball. So the moral of the story is never give up, and remember to always believe in yourself.
And to treat your Amazon drivers as if they're
Yeah.
Do you think him and Randy Dobnak have like a little weird kinship? Like,
I mean, maybe, but that's a lot of the guys in the Royals pitching staff right now. So
I think that's probably the problem.
I mean, Craig Kimbrell got a save for the Royals in the year of our Lord 2026. So
he did.
Completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Did everyone do the lean in?
I've been watching that closely, guys. But anyway, there's my two guys.
I will say,
I looked at the Long Island Ducks. The reason they might have a lot of is because the league that they are in is an official partner league with the MLB.
Yes, but there's a lot of it's a full league though, and it just seems like the Ducks.
That's the most well thought of independent league is the Atlantic League that they play in. But again, to Eric's point, they seem to get all the players and not the other teams in the league. So I don't know what that's about.
I can't get anything specific about their owner. The owner is like a guy who owns other teams as well, I think. I don't know. It's kind of the Wikipedia page was not super enlightening in terms of why did all those bunch of players.
Hopefully it's not the same group that owns like, I don't know, 40% of minor league teams. But there's literally just a corporation who just buys minor league teams and does the same promotions, things like that. But anyway,
I think the owner is just very invested in his little indie ball league, so he probably hires guys of higher quality than what normal indie ball would get in terms of like scouting and whatever.
Right.
I will say with Cuas, his numbers don't look bad. Like if he can stop walking the world, you might have something there. Like he looks like got a live arm, strikes guys out. Hasn't allowed a home run this year so far. I don't say that to jinx it, but thank you for sharing. I'm going to be rooting for him a little bit now.
So I have a little bit of an exercise because I did this on the fly, but we don't have to spend a lot of time on it because we're at an hour 49. But we've talked about 8 players, 4 pitchers and 4 position players. Now I want to play a game of who would we like to keep? I'm going to start with the relievers. Cuas, Festa, Osama bin Jansen, and Cody Funderburk.
Give me Funderburk. Funderburg.
Question is, who's the best? I'd say Funderburg.
Who would you rather? I mean, we can phrase it however we want. My guess would be like, we'll just say for next year. Who would you like?
Who would you rather have pitch in the bottom of the ninth of a one-run game?
With guys on base, because I think that's very important. Because everyone could just look at Funderburk and be like, yeah, clearly him. But a guy on base.
Funderburk. I think that's the answer.
I guess.
Yeah,
Matt
I mean,
Festive
I
is a
don't-
close second
I don't
for
see
me.
that wouldn't be.
Although he just doesn't strike anyone out and he walks a lot of guys. So like that inning can go. The ground ball is great, but a ground ball that gets through is not going to do any good. He just doesn't miss bats.
That ground ball could be a double play with runners
It
on
really
base.
can. So yes, maybe this one is not as impressive. And also,
Especially if I have Brian Rocchio at shortstop.
well, there you go. We'll use that as So I'm going to guess Funderburk. Does anyone want to give like a second guess just for whatever?
I might take Matt Festa if he's pitching like he has since the All-Star break. That
Yeah,
would
I'd
probably
take
be
Festa.
choice number 2.
Festa's a close second for me. I would. I'd say
Yeah,
Jansen is a very distant last. I hate him.
yeah.
I hope.
I
we
mean,
can
I
get
might
him.
be insane. I might honestly get Jensen, but like, I don't know why.
Why would you
Well,
want him?
I just like
Let me
punishment.
tell
I
you
don't
how
know.
that. Let me tell you how that inning is going to go. It's going to go one of three ways. One is actually going to be clean and you'll get out of it. Two, you'll get the first out and then he will give up a home run and you will lose the game. Three, he will give up a leadoff walk. The next batter will be battling and the guy who walked will steal second. Then he will get the first out. He will get a second out. Then the third out will also walk. You see what I'm You see where I'm going with this? It's a disaster waiting to happen. And then they will both steal somehow because he's just that incompetent at holding runners.
Yeah, he doesn't hold runners. He does not give a shit about.
I just don't understand. He's 30. Well, he's what, 38? How has no one told him, hey man, try and hold the runner just like a little bit? Like, what are we doing here?
I don't know much about Kenley Jensen past this year, but that is like other than Hall of Fame cutter, and does not ever throw over to first base. Like, could not care less about runners on base. He
Like
just
at
doesn't
first
matter.
when he was doing well, I was like, oh, that's fine. It's just, add a little stress to the inning, but he got out of it. Now it's just annoying because like every single time he gives up a leadoff walk, which is a lot.
But to be fair, does it matter if you hold the runner if you just let the ball go over the fence anyway?
I mean, I guess not.
Anyway, all right, position players. This one might be a little bit closer. Tyler Tolbert, Brian Rocchio, Brooks Lee, or Ben Malgiri. You had to put one of them on your bench next year. Maybe a starter. We'll say a 400 at-bat regular guy.
Is this tougher? I'd say Brooks Lee, I think.
And that's
Interesting.
kind of where I'm leading. I'm kind of leaning Brooks Lee because I feel like there's like a bit more potential that I see there of like could go up. Versus with Rocchio and Malgiri, I don't know when I'm going to get there. It's a bit more volatile.
Alternatively, the data is pretty similar offensively for Rocchio and Lee, the underlying data. Whereas Rocchio is a significantly better fielder. And at least you get the high floor of a good fielder. He's played second, he's played short. He could play either, really.
See, that's why I kind of like Tolbert because one, I like the elite speed, and he plays literally everywhere. Now he's MLB average, like Rocchio is a phenomenal defender at shortstop, and like Rocchio would be a phenomenal defender anywhere you put him. But Tolbert is doing it now in his league average across the board with elite speed, and I really like that. Rocchio,
I
Anybody
want
want
to
to-
have a guy named Chomp on my team.
Fair enough. Who doesn't? And Malgiri, too, like, not for nothing. Malgiri has, I mean, as far as sliders go, Malgiri has the best sliders on this page, including elite speed.
Yeah, that
He's
kind of
just
really
outfielder.
surprises me looking at it. He walks a lot, and I guess he just like hits the ball well. Like he just makes solid contact. He's just not making contact a ton, but like when he does,
What's-
it's pretty solid.
What's the best tool on this page? Is it Tolbert's speed or Rocchio's glove, or that's something else?
I give it to the glove because a top tier glove at shortstop is like more like rarer than just like being really fast, and it's like gives you more utility. It gives you a little bit more than just like really fast guy.
I'm just adding him because I know he's played everywhere. This is strictly just to. Okay, so I added Kreidler to this list because he's also played everywhere like Tolbert. I look, Tolbert's still calling my name because I like he can play a good defensive position everywhere. I also wonder if he just hasn't been. I don't know. Like I like the 93 percentile sprint speed. I think I'm going to go Tolbert, but also I might miss Brooks. Lee and Rocchio are both left-handed hit or both switch. Tolbert is a right-handed hitter. Sam, do you know?
That's a great
He is.
question. I want
He's a
to
right-handed
say he is. Yeah.
Oh, well, the Twins don't like right-handed reliever hitters, so I guess I have to go with a switch here in Brooksley. But I'll stop making that joke. I'm going Tolbert. Dan, who's your final answer?
Final answer. I think I talked myself into Rocchio.
Sam, final answer.
Comp.
Chomp. Lee.
I'm going with Brooks Lee, I think.
We all pick somebody different.
I
then.
love that. I love that a lot,
Mhm.
actually. It's a good question, then, if it's a split audience. Okay.
But
Hopefully that was worth time. We do have a series recap to go over, but I suspect Sam and Lee could care less about the series.
I really haven't been. I didn't pay that close of attention to this series, to be honest with you. The only thing I want to mention is that today, Salvador Perez had his first stolen base in 5 years. And if
This
you're
is
the
after.
Tigers, that's,
This is after he had his first triple in like 5 years, also like 3 weeks ago
Mhm.
against the Twins. So
He's
like,
having a career resurgence. The Royals should bring him back next year, right?
he's having a season resurgence.
Lee, do you have any thoughts on this series, or would you just prefer to flush this?
I hate all of it. This is just so reminiscent of those shitty Tigers teams between the years of 2018 and 2024, where they were just kind of miserable. And just for not even for like one specific reason, it was just like, yeah, it just all kind of sucks all at once. Like, game one, Melton had a decent start. He wasn't his best. He gave up like 3 runs. The offense did exactly jack and shit, so it didn't matter. Like same thing for yesterday's game. Fucking, I think it was Valdez pitching. I don't even remember. This is how much I paid attention to these games. It was just the offense was not there, and then today was bullpen being, what it is, and gave up a bajillion runs. So who cares? Kevin McGonigal had a home run that tied the game, and that was cool for about 2 minutes before they gave up the lead again. I mean, yeah, it's whatever. I'm done on the season. I'm ready to hit the eject button and be like, yeah, it was a fun ride for a little bit, but it kind of just sucks that I'm like checking the calendar to see when the Lions start playing it now. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm
Sure.
ready to kind of just move on from this disaster of a season and hope we play baseball in 2027. Before we go to the schedules, actually, no, I'm talking about it in the schedule. So, never mind.
I do have something about, and Sam, if you don't have an answer for this, that's fine. But I did notice, I was curious who Salvador Perez stole that base off of because I was hoping it was Kenley Jansen, but it happened in like the second inning, so that was not the case.
Mhm.
But I noticed the starting pitchers for today, and Daniel Lynch pitched into the 5th inning today for the Royals, which I know you've spoken kind of glowingly of him over the course of the year. He's apparently getting starters innings at this point, which I did not expect. I had seen him mostly out of the pen this year. So that's either a statement that doesn't need additional commentary, or if you have anything, that's fine too.
I think it's just a fact of he was a starter when he first came up, and I think they've been maybe trying to get him some more reps. I mean, someone's got to pitch for this team, and if potentially they want to try to use him as a starter next season, I won't. I won't shake my fist. So
You
There
really
you go.
gotta bring this up. It is. You're muted, by the way.
He did it without a throw.
Yeah.
Look
The
at
catcher
this
got
spry
the
young
ball
man.
stuck in his glove. Yeah.
His equipment
And
failure.
I mean,
you
great
can't put that on
slide
him.
too. Am I right?
Your starters today were Daniel Lynch and Wagaspack, by the way. So
Yeah.
battle of the Titans there. But Lynch has been very good this year. I shouldn't mock.
Yeah.
I don't like they moved into the bullpen. I thought that was something that you could find a gem this year to put in your bullpen to go into next year. I don't like they're moving him to the rotation, but whatever. It's
I mean, I think it's less of they're moving him and more of someone needs to fill a spot.
We've got all these innings we have to cover. So
Yeah.
at this
We
point
got
I
30
would
games to go, folks. Let's just get through these and see where the bodies lay.
I understand, but at this point I would rather start Craig Kimbrell than Lynch, because Lynch isn't.
I don't
is
blame
Craig
you. I'd
Kimbrell
rather start
gonna-
insert name here from
Right.
AAA.
No,
Is
Craig
Kimbrell
Kimbrell
pitch
will
in the
not.
fifth inning now? I don't
No,
think
he
so.
will not. That was why I'm assuming that was part of the questionnaire before they signed him.
Yeah.
But anyway, I disagree with it, but it's whatever. Like you said, it's a suck season anyway. So all right, let's go on to the schedules. We'll start with the White Sox, who play the Rangers and then the Twins at Target Field at the last half of the week. The Guardians, oh, you're taking forever to load, play the Angels and then the Royals to end the week. The Twins have the A's, thank God, and then the White Sox. So again, I can't get over sweep the Braves, get swept by the Padres. They should have won Saturday though, but that's whatever. Here nor there.
Casey Mize had to be taken out in the third inning because he tripped coming down the dugout stairs and twisted his ankle.
He lost like 5 miles of velo too. Like it looked bad. The Tigers play the Rays and the Dodgers.
Yeah. Hey guys, do you know who's starting for the Dodgers on Saturday?
Oh no!
Oh goodness. Well, I'll be watching that.
Look, I
We
could
know what we're
sit
talking
here
about next
and
week.
be like,
Yep.
oh, I don't care. I've moved on, but that would be a lie. It was so. I don't know if I want to watch that game or not. I know how it's gonna go, and I don't want to see it.
I look forward to Tarek Skubal's no hitter
Yeah.
Sunday.
No, okay. I wasn't gonna bring it up. Did you know that he's gone 106 pitches and 109 pitches in the last 2 starts, which is 2 of the top 4 pitch counts in his entire career? People aren't overreacting to that online at all. That'd be silly.
I mean, also the Dodgers have horrendous starting pitcher health, so like I get riding him, but maybe if that's the decision making, maybe that's why they have such horrendous starting pitching injuries. The Royals have the Blue Jays and then the Guardians in town, so that means we have.
Wait, sorry. I just saw today was Elephant and Piggy Day. I have questions.
It's like the did you ever read those children's books back in the day?
Not Elephant and Piggy.
I do not recognize that name.
Okay. It's I think it's like a literacy like reading type thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just very confused and a little bit concerned.
Yeah, it's a children's book series from like it's by Mo Willems. It's a whole thing, but yeah.
No, we don't.
Oh, take your word for it.
I'll say I can hear you typing to get that looked up. Okay, we have 2 series.
At all. All
We
right.
have 2
sorry.
series to predict. We have 2 series to predict. We have the White Sox at the Twins, and then we have the Guardian or the Royals at the Guardians. So we'll start with the White Sox and the Twins. Lee.
Just on vibes, I'm gonna go with White Sox. I think.
Had to say vibes, didn't you? Had to say vibes.
That wasn't even intentional. I swear.
Dan, how you feel about the vibes?
I kind of feel like the way that Lee feels, unfortunately. I think the White Sox are going to sweep the Twins and keep the whole like extremes results for the Twins going.
Well, do it if you're doing this, swept, sweep, swept. Well, this is the sweep time. God, I would love it.
That's not the pattern I think is going on, though.
Shut it, Dan. Sam.
Vibes will win the day in this series.
Well, the Twins clearly have superior vibes.
Well, they have Alex Jackson, Sam. So, like, clearly you don't understand how much OPS that adds to the clubhouse. You didn't say the White Sox. Did you say the White Sox for the sake of?
Oh, yes, the White Sox,
Okay.
please.
I think we know Ty is probably going to put the White Sox. I'm going to put the Twins because, honestly, the next 2 weeks is what's going to make or break the Twins season. And I need my fandom for this to happen. So I'm going with the Twins.
Plus, you need to be a contrarian.
There is part of that too, but also like there were 2 very winnable games since in that series I just went through. Like they could have realistically went 5-4 versus just a gauntlet. They didn't, and those you can't get those back. But I was overall kind of happy with at least how they played for at least, I don't know. It sounds bizarre. I don't know. Fuck it. They have vibes, everyone. They have Alex Jackson, who's probably going to go on like a Linsanity run. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to go first. The Royals and the Guardians. I mean, I'm all aboard the Royals, just playing spoiler for everyone just for the sake of doing it. So screw it. The Royals are winning this series. Sam.
I mean, I'm right there with you. Give me the Royals.
Dan.
We all know the Royals bullpen isn't very good. Guardians' offense is improved. Guardians take 2 of 3.
I said the same thing, but I will say, Noah Cameron, we need to talk more about because he has had a really good last 5 starts. Since he's been calling his own pitches, he's been very last year Noah Cameron, runner up to AL Central Rundown Rookie of the Year, lest we forget. Lee.
Give me the Royals because I think it'd be funny.
That's an easy point. That's an easy point pickup for Dan next week, I fear. All right, let's go to how we're doing for the season. Right now, Sam and Dan are tied for last place with 12.
Let's go.
Lee has 13. I have 15, and Ty has 16. So I'm assuming he will pick the White Sox. I genuinely don't know what he will do with the Royals and the Guardians. He always seems to surprise me, but he also I think does some homework before actually putting in a serious prediction. So maybe there's a lesson we should learn during these, and maybe we should at least look up pitching matchups. But if we were professional podcasters, we would do that. But who are we kidding?
Jobs, man. We got.
I'll say we got jobs. We got jobs and we got the vibes. And with that, we will end this